Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. Hope you're enjoying your day so far, and today we're going to run through some of the follow-up to yesterday's confirmation from Activision and Trek. The League players coming into the game very soon indeed, as is Express returning from Black Ops 2 on February the 4th. Seems like there's going to be many more retakes in the pipeline, but some pros not exactly convinced that Express Search and Destroy is going to work out in a great effect as we might like it to in the rotation going forwards. Intrigued to hear your thoughts on this in the comment section below. Like if you guys enjoyed the video, subscribe if you are new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. It really helps out the channel. Thank you very much indeed for doing that. First of all, a few roster mania things to discuss. Afro looks like he signed a contract somewhere. I understand he was in discussions with London and Toronto. Not exactly sure where he ended up, but London of course would make sense given he's from the UK, and well, having him on your bench would be pretty deadly, right? Consider one of the next great talents from the European region. Clearly Hydra Paris failed to pick up Hydra last season when they had the opportunity. If London have managed to snag Afro here, that might make sense given a lot of people think he is the next great thing to come out of this region. Also on the substitute side, I thought I'd mention Neptune here, brought onto the Mutineers a few days ago. I didn't really clock with me at the time how good of a branding move this is, right? Neptune, the Roman god of the sea, the kind of counterpart to Poseidon, the Greek god of the sea. So yeah, almost makes sense from all angles. And the question is, will Neptune get a spot at some point on the starting team? Because I thought it was quite interesting on the challenger side lately. I believe he's been playing with Felony's team, and Fellow does a similar gift to, well, what Afro tweeted. So possibly they're bringing Fellow and guys on as some sort of academy roster, but we will stay tuned for how this develops going forwards. Also to mention this real quick, the video later today is going to be about what Center had to say about winning champs, taking down the Dallas Empire and Atlanta FaZe if you put him on a good team. But well, right here as Gunzy says, Doug Center Martin told me if I 9-0 map count against his old team in scrims, he would give me $1,000. Sadly, this was the map we lost, and in this clip he's getting a 4-piece against Apox, Hunt, Brack, the guys that Center was formerly playing with. So it seems like Doug has been dropped off this team, unfortunately. Do feel bad for him because he's not even playing like bad from my estimation. It seems like Center's a pretty good player in this game, all things considered. But yeah, seems like his team has fallen apart once again just ahead of the Challengers Cup this weekend. So where does Doug go? As he tweets a Parasite right here, trying to team up with Haggy, as we saw a couple of weeks ago. Methods tweets this out. Haggy, ex-Center, ex-Slayer, who knows? Oh, well, whether these guys could run it back once again. And as Zap says, Haggy ex-Doug, but Parasite's like Haggy ex-retirement. It's not going to happen, lads. And as Saint says, you would have 5k concurrent all day with ease. But yeah, Parasite doesn't seem so keen to team up with Center at the current time. And I do feel pretty bad for Doug getting put in these situations again and again and again. Let's go through what happened yesterday then. So League play confirmed in season sometime, I imagine, after February the 4th, but before February the 24th when the season does end. Pretty much in perfect timing, right, for when the League is actually going to launch. It would be nice to do one thing in a combination with the other. Express on February the 4th was also discussed, but as Jacob says, just because it was in Black Ops 2 doesn't mean Express was actually that good of a map. As Octane says, look, they could have brought back Aftermath, which was, well, an S&D map at the time. A few famous clips on that one, and people would be rejoicing. Aftermath was a pretty horrible map, in my opinion, for public matches. For Search and Destroy, it actually wasn't too bad. As Jacob says, don't hate on it. But as Ake says, look, it was actually a good S&D map in Black Ops 2. Probably will be a terrible S&D map in Cold War, though. And once again, we get this kind of discussion on the timeline about, okay, they're bringing these old maps back, but it's just not going to work. It's not going to be good. And I think a lot of this is, well, as Nameless says, look, it's a solid map. Like, I love it for Search. I think it'll be fine, and probably a lot better than the maps we currently have in the game. I think that there's some, like, complaining for complaining's sake going on here. Like, what realistically do you want Trek to do? Yes, I understand that these maps probably don't play how they used to back in the day. There's certainly some discussion from, well, Jacob right here, back to Dr. Disrespect, that, look, Raid S&D doesn't play quite what it did back in the day. You could also say that, look, Raid S&D back in the day in Black Ops 2 wasn't like a phenomenal Search and Destroy map anyway. I thought it was probably the best hardpoint map of all time, possibly the best Capture the Flag map of all time, but Search and Destroy wasn't perfect. There were some things maybe that aren't ideal about it for Search and Destroy, and in this game it plays pretty well. I think it plays pretty well compared to most of the other maps for sure, but yeah, maybe it's not the perfect Search and Destroy map for a couple of reasons, and as Jacob says, maybe for a few reasons as well, maybe because the way the weapons are balanced with the way the movement works in this game, he might not play quite as well as it used to back in the day, but at the same time, it's still Raid. Like, what realistically do you want Trek to do? Like, what more can we ask for in this situation for them to bring back some of these old classic maps to get to a point where we can play like a solid map set rotation every single year, even if they don't play perfectly like they used to before. One thing I thought was entertaining in reply to this, so Scump tweets out this, of course, well, a quick highlight from the Full Sail Invitational 05 comeback from back in the day. You can actually see Jacob over here, well, when the Full Sail does actually happen and Complexity bring it back to get the job done. And as Jacob says, look, you guys caught me. The only reason I don't think Express will play well in Cold War is because of a 5-0 comeback from 8 years ago. So I do believe Express will be added into the rotation, but yeah, certainly some people not exactly convinced it is going to be phenomenal in this game. But one thing that may be phenomenal is more maps returning returning relatively soon. So as Tom Henderson said, Treyarch with the remakes, and well, he says a lot more in the pipeline, and supposedly there could be up to 8 maps returning over the coming months through the seasons from previous, I imagine, Treyarch games. And well, this is obviously pretty remarkable. If this is the case, I'm sure we are going to get a lot of fan favorites back in the title, and that could be phenomenal, of course, for competitive play. I wonder how many original Black Ops Cold War maps there will be left in the map set when this season is finally done. But as Modern Warfare 2 OG Ghost says, about 8 more remakes planned after Express, so at least 1, sometimes 2 each season, every single season. The question is, what maps are they going to bring back? I'm sure if they're bringing back Raid, they're bringing back Express, they've got to bring back Standoff at some point, whether it's in the next time, whether it's in the time after, who really knows. But Standoff has to come back, I imagine, at some point relatively soon. Probably in a few months' time, we're going to have Standoff in the game, and maybe after like stage 2 of the Pro League or something, we get to a point where, well, maybe the map set changes up once again, and we get Standoff into the game. I think it would be great to see. I mean, very intrigued to hear your thoughts on what other maps you would like, right? Because you look back to Black Ops 2, maybe a map like Yemen you could bring in, you could bring a map like Meltdown back for Search and Destroy. That's a pretty legendary one as well. Some of the things that Deserto point out right here, so top right, this is Radiation from way back in Black Ops 1. This is Launch from Black Ops 1, and well, this of course is Fringe from Call of Duty Black Ops 3. So if a map had to come back from Black Ops 3, would Fringe really work in boots on the ground? I'm not sure it would. The track side of the map especially would, I think, be pretty broken. But some of the Black Ops 1 maps, you could certainly do a map like WMD, for example. That could potentially come back. I mean, Launch and Radiation aren't terrible shouts. Radiation, I guess, was okay, but a lot of them, I think, were better maps. They were in Black Ops 1. You could bring back a map like Villa. You could bring back like Hanoi or something. There's some legendary moments on that. So I definitely think there's some Black Ops 1 maps in the pipeline. Could be worth it as well. But hopefully Standoff comes relatively soon, right? Because, okay, Raid comes back. The next expectation in the community's mind was, okay, look, Standoff's got to come next. Now we've got Express. And it's like, okay, like, hurry up, boys. We've got to get Standoff back at some point. In my opinion, probably the best all-round map for all 3 modes that we've ever had in Call of Duty history. And, well, I would love to see it back in the game. And it does seem like, based on this information, that it's surely going to be coming at some point. There's no way that having brought back Raid and Express, they're just going to, well, skip over Standoff for the rest of this season. Also some discussion, though, of course, from Parasite, the fact that, okay, all these classic maps are coming back. We got to get rid of Control, right? I'm smelling some classic map CTF, 5-second respawn. Very exciting stuff indeed. On a map like Raid, I'm sure it would work phenomenally. The maps really have to be well designed to make it work. Express also was a good CTF map. So right now, we only have 3 maps in the Control map set. We've got Raid, we've got Garrison, and we've got Checkmate. What if we just get rid of Control entirely, go with Raid, Express for Capture the Flag, which we know work, find some other map which works as well. Maybe Standoff comes back at some point and we just go straight into CTF, because I think in theory maybe CTF might be the superior game mode if the maps are perfect, if everything works, if the spawns are actually good. There's so many things that CTF necessitates to be a good game mode that, well, it's very difficult to manage, I think, on new maps into the title. So I think Control is a safer bet, but yeah, certainly some questions. Should CTF come back, especially with these new maps and more along the horizon? It's something which Ache certainly is looking forward to. CTF would be godlike on this game, yes it would, and well, as Morg says, a few replies, but this was all tongue-in-cheek because they are teaming together at the present time. Just to finish off with a couple of things as well, so as Charlie Intel says from Treyarch, as the 2021 Call of Duty League season gets ready to kick off, we're planning to bring League play to Black Ops Cold War in the second half of Season 1. Keep an eye out for more details in the coming weeks as we prep for launch. This, of course, is good news, the fact that they're considering, look, the Call of Duty League season is beginning, League play comes at the same time, certainly makes sense, certainly some cohesion between Activision, hopefully, in the CDL and the development teams. So yeah, maybe this means around February 11th through the 14th, that's when we are going to get League play dropping in this game. That really pretty much is what I expect, but there are some question marks, and Nameless, for example, saying, look, I hope hackers don't ruin the game right now, because especially on the crossplay PC side, hackers back in the day in a Black Ops 2 League play were certainly an issue, and well, hopefully in this game that won't be the case. Maybe we'll have to turn crossplay off, those of us who are still here on console, and well, hopefully that'll help the situation. I'm not really sure, but as Brack says, look, lost count of how many times I've gotten hacked on this game. It's, well, far from ideal, and if League players are marred by similar issues, then it may not be as good as we are hoping it will be. But I'm very intrigued to hear your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did enjoy it, I'd greatly appreciate a like on the video. Really helps out the YouTube algorithm know you enjoyed this content. Other people like you may enjoy this content as well, and help grow the competitive Call of Duty community. Thank you for watching as always. Take care, and I will see you next time.
I can see myself stunning it.
Fuck! This guy's this guy's hacks on. He has his hacks on. I'm jumping.
On,
Yo, jump, bro, jump.
Jumping.
Stream. What the? Jumping around like I'm space. Yo, this guy. Hello? Is this guy's hacks on or am I sauced? Look at me. I'm gonna go. Yeet. Look at me.
Holy!
Yo, this guy hacker still on. Yo, you.
I can't focus.
Yo, you.